German thrash metal pioneers, killer riffs, but unfortunately horrible lyrics. That's the main takeaway from today's show. This is Rock Kaput, my name is Oliver, and I'm going to rank Destruction's whole catalog, 16 studio albums in all. Let's talk a little bit about Destruction. They belong to the Teutonic Big Four. The other three are, of course, Kreator, Sodom, and Tankard. And but Destruction actually were the first to come out with a record. They released Sentence of Death, their debut EP in 1984. So they were pretty early in thrash metal history. Of course, the US bands Slayer, Metallica, and Anthrax came before them. So to jump into history, July 83, Kill 'Em All was released. Couple of months later, Slayer released Show No Mercy in December 83. January 84 gave us Anthrax's Fistful of Metal. In July 84, Metallica came back with their sophomore album, Ride the Lightning. And then in November 84, Sentence of Death came out. So absolute thrash metal pioneers, not only in Germany, and Destruction were very, very influential, not only for thrash metal history, but especially for death metal and black metal. Lots of black metal bands from Scandinavia from the second wave in the early 90s refer to Destruction as this huge influence, especially on their first three albums. Sentence of Death being one of them. They were early in the game, but then fate threw them a couple of sticks into their wheels, or however you say in English. So in the 90s, they went through a rough patch. Hit complete rock bottom, probably had it worst from all the great bands from the 80s going through the 90s, but we'll get to that. Since 2000, they have been reunited and going strong, and Destruction decided after that rough patch in the 90s to go full heavy metal. So they are not only playing this throwback thrash music, but they celebrate all the metal cliches, wearing leather and studs and bullet belts, and celebrating, the lifestyle and the unity of the scene and whatever. So and they don't do it with even a glimpse of or a hint of irony. So we'll talk about that later, and we're going to talk about some bad lyrics as well. So be prepared, because I'm not only ranking the albums, but I'm going to give you a token horrible lyric from each one. 16 studio albums. So I'm not going to talk about Sentence of Death, which I already showed you. Not going to talk about the Mad Butcher EP as well, which was pretty popular back in the day. I'm not going to talk about the re-recordings. They have two records out called Thrash Anthems 1 and 2, where they re-recorded old songs. I'm not going to talk about the live albums, but you already know that. So let's get right into it. I have all their albums here except for one, and that is, of course, their last place album from 1998, the least successful Human Cannonball. Great album title, but man, that's a bad record. So to jump into history and give you a little bit of context, Destruction lost their singer and founding member Schmier in 1988 after the release of their 1987 album Release from Agony. They replaced him with Andre Greiner from Poltergeist for 1990's Cracked Brain, and after that one they lost their record deal with Steamhammer, and they couldn't find another another label. So their next 3 records, they released themselves, 2 EPs called Destruction and Them Not Me, 94 and 96, I believe. And then they released the least successful Human Cannonball in 98. The lineup consisted of Mike Siefringer, who was one of the founding members, the main guitar player, Olli Kaiser on drums. He remained from earlier lineups as well. Christian Engler on bass. He was there on Crack Brain. And then Michael Piranio on guitar and vocalist Thomas Rosenmerkel. And latter one is a huge problem. He's going for that, I don't know, James Hetfield, Phil Anselmo style. The style of the music is very groove oriented. There are some good riffs here and there. As we will go to see, Mike Siefringer, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated riff writers in thrash metal history. So there's always some good stuff on every album. But yeah, this is a chore to get through. And yeah, the band has since disowned all of their 90s discography, except for Crack Brain. So they don't consider this as part of their history, calling it neo destruction. And yeah, best to forget this stuff, because you won't find anything worthwhile on there. Worst lyric. There's a song called Tick on a Tree, and the lyric I chose to recite goes like this: "Rip me out of your veins, my head remains somewhere in your décolleté." Okay, you catch my drift. Going to number 15, their reunion album from 2000, All Hell Breaks Loose. It was their reunion album. Schmier was back. Mike Siefringer was still there, and we have Sven Forman on drums. So we have a power trio here. The record was produced by Peter Tegren of Hypocrisy and Pain. So lots of competence behind the boards. But I don't like this record too much, and I will tell you why. And this is going to be a theme that we will stretch throughout their discography. As I said before, Destruction decided to go full metal. You know, in the 90s, all the metal bands started to bring in influences from hardcore and industrial and gothic rock and whatever, and lost their metal edge, you could say. And in the late 90s, there was kind of a bounce back, and lots of bands decided to double down on metal aesthetics. You had bands like Hammerfall and Primal Fear getting on the scene, consciously celebrating all the metal cliches, you know. And Destruction belonged to that group, in my opinion. And so for All Hell Breaks Loose, they give you an album that is relentlessly heavy, and in my opinion, too much so. It's noisy and clangy. The production is very of its time. I don't like it at all. The lyrics, like I said, are stupid, and there's no relaxation on this album. It's heavy throughout, fast throughout, and it can get a bit tiring. Schmier is screaming on top of his lungs throughout the whole record, and to me it's a grating experience. There are a couple of good songs on here, but going through the whole thing at once feels a bit tiring. Strong tracks as usual. The opener, The Final Curtain, is pretty good. I also like Machinery of Lies. The title track is pretty good. There's a remake of Total Disaster from their debut EP, which is nice. But other than that, I don't like this album at all. Worst lyric, from a song called Extreme Measures, being spelled extreme measures, you know, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had to spell like that, obviously. And the lyric goes like this: extreme, we have the tendency to suffer. It makes your life fucking tougher. So keep that in mind. On number 14, I have Inventor of Evil from 2005. You see the Mad Butcher, which is some kind of a mascot for the band on the cover. Sven Forman was gone on drums. We have Mark Rain on drums now. The band produced this album themselves. Yeah, it's a bit like what I said about All Hell Breaking Loose. It's very heavy, very noisy, no mellow tracks at all. It's heavy throughout, and the songwriting is a bit lacking. Usually you find a couple of good riffs on each song, but the vocal performance or the you know the lines he Schmier wrote aren't always there. Sometimes he shouts where you think he should shut up and let the riffs give the riffs some room. Like with All Hell Breaks Loose, it's a bit tiring. The opener, Soul Collector, is pretty good. Second track, The Defiance Will Remain. The Calm Before the Storm is actually a bit more mellow, but the rest is all heavy. Here's a track called The Alliance of Hellhounds, which is a song that is a bit exemplary for what I said about their celebrating metal, because they invited a bunch of vocalists to sing with them. Let me look. Biff Byford, Messiah Marcolin from Candlemass, Peavy from Rage, Doro, Mark Osegueda from Death Angel, Shagrath, which I think he's from Dimmu Borgir, right? Paul Di'Anno, Peter Tegren. So you have all these people, and each of them has one or two lines throughout the song, and it gives the whole song a very cluttered feel. You don't have any time to get used to the different voices, and what was certainly a nice idea gets pretty confusing and wild, and and it's a bit, like I said, it's kind of exemplary for destruction and the problems they often have on their albums, in my opinion. Worst lyric from the song No Man's Land, which I think is about violence towards women. And the lyric goes like this: Diabolical, my insane mind needs soul food. Super critical with yourself cause you've been screwed. Okay, nothing to add to that one. Number 13, 2003's Metal Discharge. Not a very nice cover. It was the first album with Mark Rain on drums, who was formerly in the German death metal band Morgoth, produced by Destruction and V.O. Pulver. It's the album that came after the Antichrist, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. So it's the third one after their reunion. It's a bit better than Inventor of Evil, which came right after that one. Like always, the opener is pretty good. The Ravenous Beast. I also like the title track, Metal Discharge. Ripping the Flesh Apart is pretty good. And then we have the song Mortal Remains, which features, I think, a great riff by Mike Zifringer. It has a very original and cool groove, but they almost ruin it by just screaming all over it in the chorus instead of shutting up for a second there. And yeah, that's that's a typical and a bit frustrating experience with these albums in the, I'd say in the 2000s, where you have this a couple of times. Worst lyric is from the title track. There wouldn't be good without the evil, no wisdom without stupid people. Would there be fear if we could be immortal? Welcome to the opposition portal. On number 12, I have 2016's Under Attack. Nice cover. It's the last album with drummer Vava, who came in before, produced by Destruction. And here we have, I think, a great sound. It's not that cluttered anymore. It's a bit more, the instruments have a bit more room to breathe. So you don't get pummeled throughout the whole album. But yeah, the songwriting isn't quite there. I would have loved the albums that came before with this kind of sound, but here they have the right sound, but then the songs are a bit lacking. I like Under Attack, Generation Nevermore, Dethroned, the first three, and then it kind of falters in the end. Stigmatized and Conductor of the Void are pretty good, which close the album. But yeah, in the middle part, I'm not too fond of the songs there. Maybe it will grow in the future. To me, I don't know it that long, but yeah, it sits on number 12 for me right now. Worst lyric is from the song Getting Used to the Evil. And the line goes like this: what once seemed so bad, all of a sudden becomes rad. On number 11, we have Spiritual Genocide from 2012, which is the first album with drummer Vava, who I mentioned before. This is like a anniversary edition, you know. Came out for the 30th anniversary of the band. Has a nice, you know, it's like a book, and there's a patch inside. Sound-wise, it's pretty much like the albums that came before, so it's full heavy throughout, very noisy, punches you in the face, produced by Destruction again. It's obviously, I have it on 11. It's better than the album I talked about before, but it shares some of the same problems. You know, Schmier is all over the place, and sometimes I would just like him to tone it down a bit instead of just screaming throughout the whole thing. He also has this thing where he over enunciates to sound more evil or whatever, and it becomes a bit ridiculous once in a while. But this is an enjoyable thrash album. Cyanide is the opener, again pretty good. Spiritual Genocide, the title track. Renegades is pretty good. No Signs of Repentance, Under Violent Sledge, which is the last track. They also have on a couple of their albums, they especially the last I don't know, 10 or 6 or something like that, they always have a cover version as a bonus track, and I'm not too fond of those. Here they cover Princess of the Night, and it's not bad, but do I need it? No. So yeah, Spiritual Genocide, and my choice for worst lyric of the album comes from the song Carnivore, which is this song about, you know, bitchy women. So you have your token misogynistic one on here, and the lyric goes like this: I call you angel of death, a bloody whore, beast of prey, genital discount store, carnivore. Going on to number 10, which is 2011's Day of Reckoning. I have to correct myself, this is the first one with Vavo on drums, not Spiritual Genocide. I slipped on my list here. Produced by Jakob Hansen and Martin Buchwalter. From here on out, I like the albums. I think this is a strong one. Great songs, the two openers right out the gate. The Price, Hate Is My Fuel, for me belongs on any Destruction best of compilation. Armageddonizer has a stupid title, but it's a good song. Devil's Advocate is also good, the title track. Misfit. The bonus cover version is Stand Up and Shout by Dio. Could easily live without it, but okay, it's tacked on as a bonus. Don't mind it too much. Strong album, like I said, came out in 2011. And my worst lyric is from the song Hate Is My Fuel. And it goes like this: a poison culture based on lies, war, and deceit. Slaughterhouse philosophy, cruel butchers are hard to beat. We all know that. Number 9 is Devolution from 2008, and it's spelled D-E-V-O-L, you catch my drift. And as a little gimmick, each of the song on the album, going through it, they start with a D, an E, a V. So yeah, you have if you have the titles underneath, you have spelled out Devolution with the first letter of each title. This is a strong one. I didn't like it the first or 2 times I listened to it, but then I gave it a couple more spins and I really like it. The title track and opener is great. Elevator to Hell is great. Vicious Circle, the 7 Deadly Sins, it is a bit more dramatic. It's not just this pummeling thing. Urge, the Greed of Gain, is a little bit more melodic and mid-tempo. So this is a nice break of speed for the album. Odyssey of Frustration is pretty good. Yeah, this is an enjoyable album. I like the cover artwork as well. It's the last album with Mark Rain from Morgoth on drums, produced by the band and Jacob Hansen. And my worst lyric is from the song Elevator to Hell. In this world of hubristic selfishness, crimes against mankind will lead to success. I don't even know if hubristic is a word, but yeah, that's it. On number 8, I have Born to Perish from 2019, which is the first album where the band is a 4-piece again, the first time since Crack Brain in 1990. We have a new lineup, so we have Schmier on vocals, Mike on guitar, Damir Eskic on second guitar, and Randy Black on drums. Produced again by Destruction and V.O.L.U.T.I.O.N. Yeah, and this is their late, for me, the start of their late career resurgence. I really like their last 3 albums. I think they're pretty strong. This is no exception, but it's, for me, the weakest of the bunch. The title track and opener is great. Inspired by Death is a good song. Fatal Flight 17. There's really no bad track on here. They would get a little bit better going forward. We talk about that one, but we still have the stupid lyrics. You know, they are talking about the usual topics over all of these albums. So you have your token social commentary, talking about war, about how bad the internet is for all of us, about corrupt politicians and stuff like that. And the thing with these lyrics, while I think it's good to mention these things, and I wouldn't say they are wrong, especially when they are ranting about the internet, they always come across as old people, you know, like these old people who in Germany we have this cliche that old people always look out of their window and are complaining about the people they see, you know, people parking in the wrong spot and stuff like that, and they come a little bit across like that. And if you're singing in this really bad English, you make it even worse, because you come across as a person who shouldn't be complaining about other people, you know. So yeah, worst lyric on the song Inspired by Death, which is about enjoying life as a result of realizing that you're going to die. And the lyric goes like this: nothing can describe the soul torment that you suffer when you realize that eternity is just a bluffer. Who comes up with stuff like this? I mean, don't they realize that this is stupid? I don't know. On number 7, and I mentioned it a couple of times before, is Cracked Brain from 1990. The only album, or not the only album, but the first album without Schmier on vocals. Instead, they have Andre Greiner from Poltergeist, which was a thrash metal band from Switzerland, who came out around that time. Their career was kind of stopped dead in the tracks because their singer left for Destruction. I think this is a good album, a good continuation of what they started on Release from Agony, which came out 3 years before, going more into a kind of a technical thrash direction. But this didn't do anything for them. And when I grew up, this was the last album they did, which you even knew that existed, because after that they lost their deal and couldn't find another label. And you wouldn't have known that Destruction were these pioneers, because all the other bands were blooming. Sodom had their chart success with Agent Orange. Kreator were pretty popular back then. Even Tankard had their most popular phase back in the day, and Destruction had completely lost ground. I don't think they earned it with that, but looking back, it was probably the wrong choice to fire Schmier and go in that direction. Although I still think that this is a good album. Not the whole thing works, but the title track and Frustrating is pretty good. It's a good album, worth to rediscover. But they have dumb lyrics on this one as well. My choice is from the song Frustrated, and the line is pretty short. It goes like this: running around in a polluted world, it's such a drag. On number 6, I have Diabolical from 2022. So it's not their most recent, but the one before the most recent one. It's the first album without Mike Ziffringer on guitar. They fired him, I think, related to drug abuse. I don't know. I don't really know too much about it, and I think it's a bit sad, because Mike was such an integral part for the sound of Destruction, gave them these killer riffs that were still technically proficient, and which obviously were a huge part of their sound. So getting rid of him is, I don't know, it's a bit sad, but I don't know what's behind it. And they managed to substitute them pretty well. So the people that were coming in for him, I forgot to write down who they are. Stupid of me. Whatever. So here's still very good riffs, so no loss there, luckily. Produced by Schmier. The production is better than on the albums from 2000 to 2012 or something like that. So it's not that heavy on the ears. My choice for the most stupid lyric comes from the song Horrification, which is about people going on the internet and blowing themselves up, making themselves better than they are. People wanna be a star in this modern media world. Like an obscure bazaar, egos have been hurled. I don't even know what that means. Going on to my number 5, which is Release from Agony from 1987. And this is the first album where Destruction were going on to this technical thrash direction, which led to the rift between Mike and Schmier. Schmier wanted to stay in the more aggressive thrashing lane, while Mike wanted to be more technical. Here they managed to mesh these two styles. The production by Kreator is a bit lacking, especially the gang vocals. They sound lame and tired, which drags the album down a bit. I still don't know what to think about the cover. I mean, it's ugly as hell, but it's supposed to be ugly. The split led to Schmier founding the band Headhunter, which is a pretty cool band to discover, mixing thrash with hard rock influences. Pretty original. They released 4 albums, 3 in the 90s and 1 I think around 2010. So if you don't know them, check them out. This is still a pretty enjoyable one. If you look over the sound flaws, one of my absolute favorite Destruction tracks is Unconscious Ruins, which is also one of the first I ever heard by them. Also like Sign of Fear, which is a bit more doomy, almost 8 minutes long. Pretty good. The title track is good. Yeah, check it out if you don't know it. Release from Agony, stupid lyric of choice from the song Survive to Die, which is another one about enjoying life. Our solution is to live day by day. Hazard seems to be more fair this way. Who wouldn't agree with that? Number 4 is their most recent album, Birth of Malice. And that shows how strong they still are. I mean, they're all probably in their late 50s, or at least Schmier is. And to make this strong of an album that late in your career is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, check this one out. It's one of the stronger thrash metal efforts of the last year, I'd say. Easily beats what Exodus did with their last album. So if you want great riffs and aggression throughout, this is the one to go for. Still, you have to live with the stupid lyrics, but killer tracks. Destruction, the opener, pretty good. Very self-referential. They will do that a couple of times throughout their career, singing about themselves and reciting old lyrics and stuff like that. No Kings, No Masters is a song they played live when they were on tour last time. Scumbag Human Race, I Love Angst, which is a more slow doomy track, pretty good. They cover Fast as a Shark by Accept on here. Okay. Yeah, good song, produced by Schmier and V.O. Pulver and Martin Furia. Stupid track of choice from the song Chains of Sorrow. Trapped in Hades, a lifetime restrained. Lost in shadows of fear, change your gear. Number 3 is The Antichrist from 2001. And this is the album where they really showed that they are still a force to be reckoned with. Miles better than All Hell Breaks Loose that came before. And one of the albums that showed the world that thrash metal is still valid, you know, still a musical genre you can expect something from. A couple of songs they still play live. Usually they rely on the classics, but this is an album that still shows up in their set list. It's the last album with Sven Forman on drums. They replaced him with Mark Rain after that one. Produced again by Peter Tegren, Schmier and Mike. The opener, again, Thrash Till Death, killer song, like a kind of a mission statement. Nailed to the Cross is an absolute late thrash metal classic. Dictators of Cruelty, Bullets from Hell, The Heretic, pretty cool album. Ugly photos, you know, you see when this one, you see the time it was released in the artwork and stuff. But it's a great album. If you're into thrash and you don't know this one, grab this one up, because this is a classic. But they stay true to themselves regarding the lyrics. So my choice is from the song Meet Your Destiny. If eyes could talk, the blind would be king. Mic drop. Number 2, and probably no surprise going into this one, into that one, Eternal Devastation, their sophomore album from 1986. I love the cover artwork. This is Teutonic trash at its finest, but I would even say that this is an absolute thrash metal classic, and if you know this one, you have to pick it up. It belongs right there with the greats. Pretty much killer songs throughout. There's one song I'm not too fond of, but Curse the Gods, the opener, is great. Life Without Sense, absolute killer. United by Hatred, Eternal Ban. Upcoming Devastation is an instrumental, Confused Mind. Amazing album, absolutely pummeling, a bit more refined than their debut album, which we haven't talked about yet. Don't know what that means. But the stupid lyrics were there from the start. I'm inclined to give these records a pass because they were still young, and back in the 80s, you know, most of the bands were singing kind of stupid stuff about Satan and things like that. So English wasn't that prominent throughout the world as it is today. So I don't really mind them to be not that fluent or versatile with the language. But my choice for stupid lyric comes from the song Eternal Ban, and it goes, I don't fit into the general rules, I ignore them all the time. Which is actually pretty funny. So that leaves my number 1. And this is, of course, their debut album, Infernal, Overkill. I love this one. It's so influential. You can hear the influence on second generation black metal bands on this one. Mike's blowing out killer riffs one after the other. Invincible Force, Death Trap, The Ritual, Bestial Invasion, Thrash Attack, Antichrist, Black Death. This one is a no-skip album from start to finish. Just great, produced by the band themselves, came out in 1985. And if you don't know this one, shut the fuck up about thrash metal, because you need to listen to this one. And to wrap it all up, stupid lyric of choice from the song Tormentor. I think every band back in the day had a song called Tormentor. As a little boy, he played strange games. No toy he ever touched, but when nobody looked, his body cooked. In his soul were burning flames. So, this was my Ranking the Destruction catalog. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give me your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and give me your comments. What's your take on Destruction? What's your favorite albums by them? What do you think about their role in thrash metal as a genre. Do you know them in the US? I mean, were they popular over there? I know they toured a couple of times in the 80s. So yeah, like I said, give me your comments. Appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you will stay tuned, because I will be covering a lot of thrash metal bands in the future. Still already covered a couple of them, so check out our videos, and thrash till death. See you.